Hey everyone, welcome back to the channel. I know, I've been away for a while. I had a bit of a knee injury in it, so that prevented me from YouTubing for a while. Following on from a video that I've done on legal CVs, the link to which is above, I am now going to be talking about legal cover letters in this video today. Now, before I start, this video is based on my own personal experiences. So do look at other sources like YouTube, LinkedIn, and legal Instagram pages to help you out as well. So disclaimer out of the way, this video has 4 sections. So firstly, I'll be talking about the general rules for cover letters. Secondly, I'll be talking about the importance of structure. Thirdly, cover letters for vacation scheme applications or training contract applications. And finally, cover letters for paralegal or other legal professional jobs. Let's jump into the first section on general rules about legal cover letters. If you want to improve your chances of getting through to the next stage after submitting a legal cover letter and CV, do make sure you're clued up on the basics that I'll be talking about now. So let's start from the top of the cover letter. This is where you're writing your address, your full name. You can even include your phone number and your email address as well. Make sure your email address is something professional, not something like ilovespicynachos@hotmail.com. That's just dumb. I'm actually craving nachos now. Now, these personal details of yours can either be on the right hand side of your cover letter or at the top in the header. We've saved the left hand side of the cover letter for the person you're addressing the letter to. So for example, grad recruitment. So in this section, make sure you include graduate recruitment if you are addressing the letter to them, the name of the firm, the address, including their postcode. And please, for the love of God, make sure that you've written the name of the firm properly. If you want to see common mistakes people make when it comes to writing the names of firms, click on the link above. Now, the next part of the cover letter is to write the date. Make sure you write the date in full. Usually I write the date on the right hand side underneath the address, and I write the date in full, so 12th of October 2020, not 12-10-20. This next bit is very, very important. Who are you addressing the cover letter to? If the firm has provided someone that you need to address the cover letter to, then make sure you address it to them. For example, Dear Joe Blogs or Dear Mr. Blogs. If you want to address the cover letter to a woman, make sure you use Ms, so MS dot, rather than Miss or Mrs. It's more professional because you don't know that person's marital status. However, again, for the love of God, double times, make sure you spell the name of that person correctly. I was at a networking event recently where a trainee was telling aspiring solicitors that one of the reasons why they were there at the assessment centre was because they had the name of the surname written correctly in the cover letter. You'll be surprised the number of people who get their cover letter rejected straight away just because they cannot spell the surname correctly. If the firm has not provided a person to address the letter to, Dear Sir / Madam is perfectly fine as well. However, whoever you address it to means you have to end the cover letter correctly as well. So if you have addressed the letter to Dear Sir / Madam, you end the letter with yours faithfully. However, if you've addressed the letter to a specific person, so Joe Blogs, you end the letter with yours sincerely. And when you've finished writing the cover letter at the end, it's always best to mention something like, "Thank you for taking the time to consider my application. I look forward to hearing from you." There's no need to go OTT or cringe here. You don't need to say something like, "I shall be most grateful if you considered my application with the utmost importance." That just sounds cringe, and honestly, just go straight to the point in your cover letter. That's what people want. Now that we've got preliminary cover letter writing out of the way, let's move on to that introductory paragraph. Please make sure that when you're writing an introductory paragraph, you include the following. So a brief detail on the position you're at right now, so you're an undergraduate at this uni studying this degree, and also mention what you're applying for. So for example, I'm applying for a training contract at... This introductory paragraph does not have to be too long, around 3 to 5 lines is sufficient. Final point on general rules for legal cover letters, it should be around 1 page long unless the firm has specified that it needs to be shorter or longer. Now let's move on to the structure of cover letters. I personally find structure the most important thing when it comes to writing cover letters, especially legal ones. I review quite a lot of legal cover letters, and many times I get lost halfway through the cover letter. Like, not even Google Maps can help me find my way out of this cover letter and know what the person's talking about. I'm doing up Dora the Explorer trying to to find out what the point is that the person is trying to say. So my biggest tip here is to make sure that after your introductory paragraph, every paragraph that follows that should include an introductory line that signposts the reader about what that paragraph will be about. So for example, say the next paragraph that you want to write in your cover letter is why you're applying to that firm. You can start off that paragraph by saying something along the lines of, there are 3 reasons why I want to apply to this firm. Firstly, can you see that just signposts the reader about what you're going to be talking about, and also provides some structure? Okay, this individual is going to provide 3 reasons within this paragraph. Another example of providing structure at the start of your paragraphs is something like, my strengths in teamwork and leadership will certainly be transferable to this firm. Firstly, my strength in teamwork is displayed by, and then you talk about the experience and the evidence that shows that you have strong team working skills. This might sound really obvious in terms of when I'm spelling it out to you, but so many candidates make the mistake of going off on a tangent halfway through the paragraph, or starting a new paragraph delving straight into the experience itself, saying something like, I attended a virtual internship at so and so. And it doesn't actually provide the reader of, okay, what's the significance of mentioning? Why are you even mentioning that? And that's where it's destructive. Without having a clear structure, the individual sometimes goes off on a tangent halfway through the paragraph. At one point they're talking about why they want to apply to the firm, and then they're suddenly talking about why they're interested in commercial law. So to combat this, I really recommend writing temporary headers at the start of every new paragraph you're going to write in your cover letter. This paragraph should match precisely what that header above is saying, and therefore every sentence should relate to that header, and that prevents you from going off on a tangent. And when it's time to make a new point or a new paragraph, you write a new header and ensure that that next paragraph follows that header exactly. And then before submitting the cover letter, you can remove those headers, do a final read through, make sure that everything reads smoothly, and then submit it to the firm. Now, the third section I wanted to talk about in this video is writing legal cover letters for training contract or vacation scheme applications. In respect of the structure, like we've mentioned before, law firms sometimes specify what they want you to include in the cover letter. So these typically include 3 sections on why you've decided to pursue a career in commercial law, why you want to work for this firm, and what skills can you transfer to that firm to ensure you do a great job. If law firms specify you to do a structure, please make sure you follow it. However, sometimes law firms don't actually specify what they want you to mention in the cover letter. Sometimes you're writing out the answers to your questions in the application form, you think you're done, you click on the next page, and they want you to write a cover letter. I had this experience for a particular firm. I'd finished writing up 6 answers to individual questions they asked on things like why I wanted to work there. I told them about a recent news story. I thought I was done. I was so gassed. The end was near. I went on the next page and they said, please, would you be able to write us a cover letter on 300 words? And no mention of what I should include. And yeah, I was just like, what more do you want from me? I've provided everything now. I've talked about my work experiences, I've answered your questions. Please, can you see from my eyes, I am traumatized. I'm gonna stop right there. So then when I was asked to write this cover letter, I was thinking, well, what more can I provide in this cover letter that I haven't mentioned in the application for other questions? I'd already answered questions like why I wanted to apply to the firm or why I wanted to do commercial law. So if you're ever in that situation where I was, I used that cover letter section to talk about something that I'd not mentioned in the rest of that application. So therefore, I went back to the application. I looked at what specifically they were asking me from each individual question, and then I used my own initiative and my experience from writing applications in the past to try and fit the gap on what was missing and what more I could provide to them about me. There was also another application that I did for another firm where they asked the same thing for a cover letter after completing series of questions. And for that cover letter, I actually talked about what made me stand out. And for that, I really talked about my resilience, and I talked about something quite personal in my life. When the firm doesn't specify what they want you to write in a cover letter, you do have that flexibility to include whatever you feel is relevant to the application and has not been mentioned elsewhere. For paralegal applications or any other legal professional job that you're applying to, I personally adopted a different structure compared to my VAC scheme or TC applications because I felt like the firm was looking for something different when I was applying for certain roles. Here I focused less on why I wanted to be a commercial solicitor because I wasn't applying for a TC. I was applying for a training contract. I was applying to become a paralegal for that firm. Instead, I focused on why I wanted to work for that firm and the skills that I could bring that would really make me flourish in that role. In respect of the latter, I always looked at the job description and the role requirements. What was the firm looking for in their candidates, and made sure that I discussed these points in detail in my cover letter. So say if the firm was looking for someone who had a high attention to detail, especially when it came to drafting certain documents. In the cover letter, I would talk about how I also possessed this skill, this quality, and then provide evidence using my work experiences to really showcase that skill that I'd have. So the key takeaway here is to consider the role that you're applying to as well. I am aware that there are several cover letter templates out there which are great. However, I still think it's important to exercise some personal judgment on whether that template structure actually applies to the application form, whether it applies to the firm, and whether it applies to the job that you're applying to. So I hope you found this video useful. As always, please like, comment on my videos and subscribe to my channel. I look forward to seeing you guys in the next video. Hopefully I don't get another knee injury or something.